How are you guys feeling tonight? Can you explain the ether? It's a great question to start with. Can anyone explain the ether? I wouldn't trust anybody who explained the ether, not even me. Right now we're listening to La Crescida Bus. We were listening to L'Échappée. It's by Baden Baden. Can you tell us more about why you don't think anything matters? Why do you think anything does? Do you believe that a human can connect with a plant? Definitely. Humans connect with plants whether they know it or not. Humans are connected with all nature. All nature is connected. Plants are very alive. I would go as far as to say that plants can feel and see and think and hear like you and I can, in a way that maybe we can't understand because they don't have eyes and ears the same way we do. That doesn't mean they don't perceive, feel, and experience, which I think that they do. I think that all life forms experience a lot more than we give them credit for, because we can't imagine what that might be like. We think that our form of consciousness, our experience of it, is the only one, or it's superior to all others. I think there are equally, if not more, complex things going on in silence, things that elude us entirely, whole complex systems that nature uses to communicate with itself that we can't understand. And we've just misinterpreted that for some kind of superiority, which it isn't. Every human needs something to believe in. I disagree. Unless it's yourself, because I don't believe in anything except myself. I think every human needs to believe in themselves. What a world that would be. The eye of understanding can only see what the mind of matter allows it through material eyes. Yeah, I would even say that we can only, I would say it's even less than that. We don't understand everything we see. We only understand what we have words for. Language plays a huge role in the way that you conceptualize, think, and experience the world. Culture is heavily influenced by language and vice versa. And depending on what language is your first language, whether or not you speak more than one language, will affect the way you see the world. Some languages have words for things that other languages don't. And if you don't have a word for something, you can't really conceptualize it or understand it. So I would say that we understand a lot less than what we see. We don't see much. We don't see the things we don't have names for, unless we're like really observant, you know. I'm just mostly speaking in general. The alchemy of being a teenager in itself is so much pressure. It's a difficult space to navigate. Adolescence is heavily alchemical time. There's so much change happening in your body, your hormones, the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive others. You're just building your identity as a teenager. You're figuring out who you are in comparison to everybody else. And it always feels like everybody is more put together than you are. And you're the only one who doesn't know who you are or what you're doing. But the reality is that everybody feels that way. So everybody's trying to fit in everywhere, and nobody really knows who they are or what they're doing, and just kind of picking cues up from one another, like, oh, okay, so that's a cool thing to do, that's okay to do, I'll do it. Oh, that looks cute, I'll try it. Like, I feel like that's a lot of what adolescence is. Just a second. Kiss me one more time. Hi, Yo-Yo. Hi, Yo-Yo. Hi, Yo-Yo. It's a hello. It's a hello, Yo-Yo. It's a hello. You guys, let's take this moment to hear from our favorite guests and our beloved sponsors, the unnamed unbranded, all natural mango orange juice with no added sugars. So good. Forget about meanings first. Forget about traditional meanings and classic meanings and book meanings. Start by meditating and just doing free association while looking at the cards. Just meditate on the cards. Write down what you see, what the images feel like, what they're saying to you, what pops out to you, what stands out the most, what your intuition focuses in on. I would say that will inform your reading a lot more than trying to memorize classical, traditional meanings. The best thing about tarot is that it gives us the opportunity to project consciously, to project with awareness, to reflect and use our imagination. It gives us prompts to access ourselves with. So just let the images guide you if you're just starting. Let the images guide you. See what stories they're trying to tell. So let's say that the general consensus of the room is that we're not the same person we were a year ago. Thank you, Gordon. The fact that you're not the same is the alchemy. That changing that you did, that growing that you did over this last year is the alchemy. That's it. If you want to be an alchemist, you want to be able to reflect on the journey with an objective POV. You want to be able to look back on the last year and see if you can delineate the moments, the moments that had the most effect on you, the most pivotal moments, the most integral moments, the moments that you think the transition was most tangible. That's what will make you an alchemist, when you can see what's happening while it happens. Alchemy is the philosophy of change, and your growth over this last year, 2 years, month, 3 months, 10 years, whatever you want. That is the alchemy. That's the process. Today I found a journal of my own from 10 years ago, and it's so crazy to read yourself. It was like stepping into a time machine, like seeing myself 10 years ago, how I used to think. And what's really crazy is how did it start and evolve. Okay, I'll read you some of this journal and you'll see, I guess. You'll get a glimpse of, this is the journal. And as you can see here, it's 2012 to 2013. You can see that the first thing written in here. This is the story of a hurricane inside my head. And then these were my restaurant hours, my work hours. That's how it always felt, and how it always still feels. So this is a 19-year-old Ilian. Some things in life are unforgettable. Places, people, moments. Usually it's the moments that cause us pain. It's the moments when we feel embarrassed, degraded, scared, that our memory grabs onto with both hands. It's almost as if we enjoy reliving the pain time and time again. Does that make us masochistic by nature? Does it mean that we somehow reminisce on those moments nostalgically? Why is it that we remember every detail of a nightmare, but can't seem to rope together random flashes of amusing dreams? That was the first thing I wrote in here. That's the first entry. The girl is deep. I was very morbid. I had my heart broken a lot. So the guy that I started smoking for eventually broke up with me. And that was actually right before I started this journal. So there's a lot of stuff that's like post-heartbreak, midst heartbreak in here. Check this out. Don't ever share a song with a person you're in love with. Or at least don't share too many. Why? I'll tell you why. Because you're probably going to break up. And if you love them enough, you're definitely going to fight. But what does fighting have to do with music? Oh, it has everything to do with it. Today, there's a good song about everything. Love, hate, parents, breakups, school, bullying, anorexia, work, boredom, you name it. There are at least 100 songs out there that know how you feel at any moment. Breaking up isn't easy. And we all know the more you love someone, the harder it gets. But it passes. Life goes on. You spend the first couple days crying, sometimes the first couple weeks, even months. And then one day you wake up, go about your daily activities, come to bed at night, and realize you haven't cried all day. Following the first couple weeks of agony are the next couple weeks of strengthening. Days pass by when you shed less and less tears, waste less and less minutes thinking of the could-have-beens and should-have-beens, spend less and less time regretting every little part of you that you gave away. With every passing day, you get a little bit less nostalgic. All this is fine and dandy and completely working for you until one day you hear that song, that one song you listened to together. The first time you went out, the romantic one that just happened to be on the radio, or the song that was playing in the background, the first time you kissed, or the song they told you to listen to when they had to spend the weekend away. And suddenly, you're right back where you started. Crying over letting go of something so huge for something so stupid. Reminiscing on what should have been and could have been. And every beautiful moment you ever had together. All that time you spent healing and recovering is now gone down the drain. William Shakespeare once said, "If music be the food of love, then play on." Shakespeare, however, lived in a time that didn't know divorce lawyers or women's rights or adolescent relationships. He lived in a time and wrote of a time when love was forbidden and didn't know how to argue and didn't disagree and didn't do anything but steal moments of joy whenever it could. But unfortunately for us, we live in a time where 3 out of 5 marriages on average end in divorce. What a weird thought process for a 19-year-old. This is actually pretty positive stuff. This is uplifting. This is considered uplifting relative to the way that I used to think. The sound a cigarette makes when it goes out. A soft, sweet sound, easy on the ears, perfect finish to a burning end. You smoke and smoke, breathing in, breathing out, letting go of your anxiety, relieving your brain of stress, relaxing every last muscle in your body that sends you to euphoria for a good 5 to 10 minutes before you have to do it all again, all to sign off with a simple tiss. Do you sing? No, I'm not a singer. I don't sing at all. Flame. You look Lebanese. Is that a question or a statement? What's the difference between witchcraft and alchemy? They are completely unrelated. They're two different things entirely. And the word witchcraft isn't really used in alchemy, but the word alchemy is probably used in witchcraft circles. If alchemy isn't for making enchantment potions, then what else is alchemy for? Alchemy is the understanding between, the understanding of the connection between your internal state and your external surroundings. Alchemy is understanding how things react with one another, how two bodies can come together and perform an energetic exchange, and how that energetic exchange can affect each of these passing bodies. So, two people meet in a bar. Two unconscious people, people who aren't necessarily actively working on themselves or are particularly aware or anything. Just two average people living their lives in their egos, don't really know their shadows that well, just unconsciously moving through life. They meet in a bar and they vibe. That is chemistry, right? That's what we call chemistry. But it's not really chemistry as we know it. It's a more metaphysical chemistry. It's an ethereal kind of chemistry. It's alchemistry. It's alchemy, essentially. And two unconscious people coming together will produce, more likely than not, an unconscious bond, which, as I've said before, can either be something spectacular. It really has equal chances of being spectacular or completely awful. More likely than not, somebody will get hurt because nobody is really paying attention to what's happening. But then, of course, you could just live a long, happy, unconscious life with another person, with a steady alchemy happening between the two of you that no one is really giving any attention to. And that's totally fine, honestly. Anything that involves an energetic exchange, a back and forth, a mixture of sorts, anything that requires the union of more than one thing, that alchemy is there. That is alchemy. We don't seem to use the word spirituality, but the concept of alchemy seems very relatable. Spirituality is a very diluted term these days. And I would say alchemy is like a spiritual philosophy. And I like the word spiritual philosophy more than spirituality, because like I said, spirituality is a little bit diluted, and New Age spirituality is starting to feel a little dogmatic, and it's veering into the realm of religion and ideology. And I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with dogma. And I don't fuck with anything that tells you how or what to think. The ego arrives and demands attention. How does one overcome the ego? The ego doesn't demand attention. The ego envelops you. The ego says, I will possess your thinking now. The ego is a problem when you become over-identified with it. So if you're, say, a teacher in real life, and you're having a conversation with your spouse, and you're trying, or your partner, and you're trying to explain something, and you do it with a teacherly attitude. That is your ego. Your ego has consumed you. You have become consumed. You have become possessed by the ego, which is the teacher's persona. You've over-identified with the persona teacher, and you've assumed unconsciously that this is who you are. But in this space, you're not a teacher. You're a partner. You're someone's partner. To bring your teacherliness to an intimate space probably isn't the best idea. And you're probably the person whose partner is always saying, oh, you're always so patronizing. You're always trying to belittle me. Or you're always mansplaining things to me or something. So that's one way. That's one example of how the ego can be harmful. Over-identification with the ego. Now, I think the ego also that you're talking about is the ego that steps in to lick our wounds when we feel hurt or we feel called out. So when you're having an argument with someone, say your partner again, and they say something that resonates, that you know is true. They call you a liar, let's say, because you're lying about something. Now, if you're really lying, it's gonna hurt. And so your ego is gonna come in and say, they're not allowed to call us out like that. They can't call us a liar. That's disrespectful. Whether or not you're lying has nothing to do with this. Call them out on their shit. That's your ego. If you were to say you were lying and they called you a liar, if you could find the strength and the integrity to take a step back and say, you know what, yeah, I am lying. Because 1, 2, and 3, that is a way, that in that moment you will have overcome your ego. It's really simple. It's just difficult because we don't like being wrong. We don't like admitting that we're wrong. We don't like being vulnerable. We don't like being called out for our shit. Because, I don't know, because we're scared, and we've been taught that being wrong or having flaws is a weakness. The fact of the matter is that it's not. Everything is a disposition. If you're not moved by your own faults, then nothing can really touch you. Nothing can take from your strength. You know, it's your disposition at the end of the day, your confidence. If you can be confident in your own faults, no one can really pull you down by them. No one can pull you down by anything, because you're not striving to be anything for anyone. And so no one really knows what direction you're moving in. And no one really knows how to hold you down or hold you back or steer you off course, because your course isn't clear. And it shouldn't be. Does that make sense? Do you identify as a Phoenician? No, I don't identify as an ancient peoples that no longer exists and hasn't existed for almost 2,000 years. Do you identify as Phoenician? Do you identify as Hittite? Do you identify as a descendant of Ramses? Ridiculous. You shouldn't need anything more than yourself to identify with. If you feel like somebody is just way deep in their ways, don't try and pull them out. If anything, try and understand them. Ask them questions that will help you understand their stance and will help you understand why they've dug their heels so deep into where they are. But don't ever try to pull someone out of their convictions. It doesn't end well. It never ends well. Just try and understand. Have the grace to understand the people that you don't agree with. Do you think the Bible has the answer to everything? No. I don't think anyone or anything has the answer to everything. Just be the observer, no judgments. Yes, be the observer. It's really easy to say it. It's easy to hear it and understand it. It's different. It's another story to really understand, to really absorb what that means. What it means to be an observer without judgment. Because, that's something I've been practicing for years now. Observing without judgment. Thank you, Erin. And I still have a lot of difficulty doing it, especially when I get lots of backlash. Thank you, Erin. Being on social media makes it difficult, especially for me, because I get a lot of backlash from people and I get a lot of criticism for the things that I say. And there's always these petty responses in my head that immediately come up. I am a Virgo after all. So, my petty responses are just right at the tip of my tongue. I'm always ready to respond with something petty and silly, but I think my understanding gets the better of me most days. And I always remember that to some degree, everyone is an extension of myself. And to another degree, everyone is an untold story. And someone leaving a snide comment on a video is a lot more than just a bot passing through most of the time. Someone leaving a snarky comment on a video is someone living a sad life, is several days worth of pain, if not months or years worth of pain and suffering, is a child that wasn't loved, a child that wasn't held, or never knew their mother or father, or knew them as abusers. There's just so much to take into consideration. The amount of times I found myself deleting a response thinking, do I really want to be present in this situation? Yeah, 100% Shafia. And I've done that as well. Because I'll have an initial burning moment of like, oh, I'm about to talk some sense into you. And then as soon as I hit send, I'm like, actually, you know what? Let me remove this. No, it was not me. It was not me. I will never be in your DMs offering a reading. So if you ever get a DM from me or from an account that looks like mine and it follows you back, no, I'll never offering readings in your DMs. No, those are scammers. Please ignore those, block them, report them. You can book reading. You can book a one-on-one reading with me through my website. I have a website and a schedule. No DMs. What is the most important alchemy book for a beginner? Okay. You don't really learn alchemy in a book. You learn alchemy by living, by experiencing things, by observing yourself and observing how you grow. If you want to learn alchemy, you have to learn yourself. Hey, I'd love to hear you talk about the Anunnaki. Want to hear about the Anunnaki? I am the Anunnaki. Duh. Everything is alchemy. If you want to learn alchemy, you don't need to read a book. You need to learn about yourself. You need to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, how you process things, what triggers you, what elates you, what attracts you, what disgusts you, what disturbs you, what entertains you, what makes you stop in your tracks. That's what it means to learn alchemy. There's no book to be read, and there's no spell to be cast. You can't cast a spell on me, Bullfrog. You can't put a spell on me. No one can put a spell on me. And no one can put a spell on you either. As long as you know that. Only you can put a spell on you. And only what you believe in can hurt you. You gotta write your studies of yourself down. That's how you learn yourself. You write things down, you draw things out, you record things, and you go back to them. Today, I cleaned out my studio and I found a 10-year-old journal. And it allowed me to look back 10 years on myself. I am the only point. I am the only constant in the story of me. I had no memory today. If I were to have Alzheimer's or dementia, I could re-access my life through these journals. And I wonder if that'll happen one day. My grandfather got Alzheimer's. And I'm a little scared to do the test where you can see if you've got the gene. I'm just gonna keep writing and we'll see what happens. What are your opinions about Thelema and Crowley? I have a lot. Thelema I'm not a big fan of. It's very hedonistic in a really simple, unimpressive kind of way. But Crowley, I think, is a little misunderstood as a character. It's very culty. What is culty? Thelema? Crowley? Yes. Do you admire any world leader, current or past? Admire is a big word. Respect, yeah. I have respect for a lot of people. And I could say I'm interested in a lot of world leaders, current and past. I'm interested in understanding them as individuals. Give me your best advice to take with me. My best ever advice, Shwezi? My best ever advice is something my dad would say all the time while I was growing up. Mostly when I was in my 20s and smoking all the time. He would always say, style and endurance are more important than truth. Remember that. Style and endurance are more important than truth. And the idea is that even if you know the truth, but you can't present it with style, and you don't have the endurance to maintain that style and continue to present in that style, showing up every day, every week, every time, consistently, then it doesn't matter. the truth won't matter. Style and endurance are more important than truth. You could be saying nothing at all, but if you can keep saying it with a distinct style, in a distinct voice that people will always remember, that will always identify you when someone hears it, sees it, comes across it, interacts with it, that's more important than truth. You could be saying nothing, but it will outweigh the truth-sayers who have no style and no endurance. Like I was saying in the beginning, and just because I had a conversation with a Freemason, that doesn't mean I'm a Freemason. It doesn't mean I agree with Freemasonry, or I agree even with the man that I spoke to. I don't agree with anybody, and I don't even necessarily believe him. I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything I read. I don't believe anything I hear. I don't believe in anything except for myself. Judging is for fools. There's just no point. There's no point. Why would you bother? Why would you even bother casting your judgment on anything? Why would you bother? What does that add to any conversation? What does that add to you? How does that expand your mind, you deciding whether something is good or bad? It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's a limiter. It's a glass ceiling. It's a dead end. A value judgment is a dead end. It's your own way of imposing limits on your own mind. This is bad. Guess I might as well not learn a thing about it. That's what a lot of people in the comments want me to do with Freemasonry. It's bad. I shouldn't talk to them. They're bad. They've done bad things. It's bad. That's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. How are you ever going to grow as a human being if you can't even if you can't talk to anybody except the people who reiterate what you say to yourself? I mean, you're essentially creating your own cave, like Plato's cave. You're just living in shadows. You're living with echoes. You're not expanding. You're not growing. You're just not there. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping the world. Only know what you are by what you aren't. I think Edward Said said that identity is defined most clearly and efficiently against another. There must be another that we are not. And you know what's interesting? The first historian, Herodotus, the Greek historian who covered the battle at, what was it called? The battle at the battle that where the Persians were able to cross into Greek territory. The question of Palestine. What about it? Tahya Palestine. But anyways, Herodotus defined Greek culture by saying that it wasn't Persian culture. Thermopylae, thank you, Tristan. The Battle of Thermopylae, yes, exactly. So on reflecting on the Battle of Thermopylae, what Herodotus said was, well, since we are fighting against the Persians, and the Persians have a king who treats all of his followers and his kingdom like slaves, yes, exactly, the 300 battle, then that's what Greeks aren't. They are the slave lovers. We are representative of democracy. They are barbaric. We are civilized. Essentially, Herodotus painted all things bad, painted the Persians all things bad, to say that this was all of the things that Greece was not. Even though the reality is that Athens was built by slaves and democracy was only for a particular class of people whereas everybody else was just a slave and just wasn't considered part of the population. So democracy, when it first was a thing, when it first became a thing, it wasn't the democracy that we know. It was democracy as in equality for the high class, while everybody else is still a slave. But that was considered democracy. And Persians actually were a lot more meticulous about their architecture. And their cities were built by stone masons, essentially, not slaves. They were built and decorated by artisans. But what remained in the collective consciousness, the collective memory, is that West equals good, civilized, East equals bad, uncivilized, bloodthirsty, warmongers, etc. So just a really interesting look at how even on the macro scale and in terms of nations defining themselves, that's how far one can go. I mean, that is the characteristic way of the United States, the way that the United States justifies its presence in the Middle East. It's the way like the US professes to be this great melting pot of people who all, are of all of these different racial backgrounds and colors, etc. But when you go online or really just look at the state of the US today, there's less tolerance in the US than there is in Lebanon, I feel sometimes. There's less tolerance in the US than there is in the Middle East, for example. And yet, we're still colored as the villains and the terrorists. I think that the power of the US, or where the real tolerance in the US is in individuals. The people, mostly the people whose voices we don't hear. Because the loudest people today are the most bigoted, unfortunately. And I don't mean bigoted in one direction, by the way. I mean extremists in every sense. The loudest people are the extreme left and the extreme right. So wherever you are on the extreme, if you're on the circumference of the circle, then yeah, you're the same. I can't say apolitical because I don't think anything is apolitical. And I think the most naive thing that somebody can do today is say that they are apolitical and that they don't like to talk about politics and they're not involved in politics. And I'm telling you right now, if you're over 18 and let's say over 21, if you're over 21 and you still are trying to be apolitical, know that your neutrality is one more voice for the oppressor. The bad guys always get support when you say that you are neutral. There is no such thing as apoliticalness, and there is no such thing as political neutrality. So like when I'm talking to somebody about Israel and Palestine and they tell me, honestly, I'm not on either side. I'm not pro-Israeli but I'm not pro-Palestinian either. I'm not anti anything. I'm not pro anything. All that means is that they support apartheid, whether they know it or not. So I'll tell you that if you think, those people have been fighting forever and I just don't know, I just don't know enough to have a side, you support apartheid. Jean-Paul Sartre, one of my favorite existentialists, said once upon a time If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. You're way wrong. Sorry. Oof, please elaborate. Please enlighten me. Enlighten me, sir. And don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't just stand on the sidelines and let evil happen. Don't be that guy. Be the people in the stories that inspired you when you were a kid. Have the courage to stand up against what you know is wrong. You can't even trust the news. But it is our duty as humans to know when humanity is suffering. It is our duty as humans to know that the house of God is under attack, that Jerusalem, a place that is holy to over half the population of the world, is being usurped by a political party, is being possessed. There are people in Jerusalem today who are being kicked out of their homes. There is a child in Palestine right now who has nowhere to sleep tonight because an IDF soldier told him to get the fuck out. Him and his parents. You don't need to know all the details, but you need to know how to discern. You need to know that when you see soldiers separating a mother from her children purely for a political cause, you need to know that there's something wrong there. You need to know that there's something wrong with that army, and there is something wrong with that nation, and there is something wrong with the people in charge. When you see a 90-year-old man at a checkpoint with his neck beneath the boots of a soldier, you shouldn't need to know the whole story. You shouldn't need to ask any more questions. You should know that that's wrong. And nothing more needs to be said about that. Whose land is it? That doesn't matter. What matters is nobody's grandfather should have a boot on his neck on his way home. Does that make sense? Is it starting to show how angry I am? There's shooting from one of the checkpoints not too long ago. I think 2 young people were killed. Every day. That happens every day. That happens every damn day. And that's not the only place it's happening. I'm shining a light on Jerusalem and Palestine because that's where I happen to be from and that's what I happen to be studying. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a Holocaust in China right now. It doesn't mean that hundreds and thousands of people all over the world aren't killed every day for being who they are, for speaking a certain language or believing in a certain God. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen everywhere. It does. But I'm speaking on Jerusalem because maybe it sits in a special place in most of our memories and most of our hearts. Where was the boy who disagreed with me? 1 state or 2 state? 1, definitely. There's no such thing as the 2 state. It's really just a decoy. Why do you call yourself a witch? I don't really call myself a witch. It's just my username, Twitchy Witch, because it sounds cool. Isn't that catchy? Like, can you actually get that out of your head, Twitchy Witch? I'm very on edge, and the fact that I'm calming you, bringing you calm, elates me. Honestly, I am elated. It actually makes me a little calmer because, Any magic trick for the night? I don't do magic tricks. Let's talk about apartheid again. Ooh. Hey, Quantum Gengar. What are you on edge about? Witches on edge make me anxious. Don't let them. Nobody can touch you. Nobody can do anything to you. You are the only person who governs your own energetic state. And as long as you don't believe in the bullshit that people try to put on you, they can't put it on you. Remember that. And tell them Twitchy Witch said so. Somebody's like, oh, I'm going to curse you. Be like, actually, according to Twitchy Witch, you can't because I don't believe in your bullshit. And they'll be like, who the fuck is Twitchy Witch? And then you'll be like, none of your business. But she sees you and this does not affect me. And that will make them crumble. But I'm on edge because I haven't smoked today. I've only smoked 2 cigarettes. And I'm used to smoking a pack a day. And that's making me very edgy, very angry, very sweaty. So guys, if anybody in here is not in our Discord, come join. Come hang out with us in the Discord, in the Twitchyverse. Go to my website, twitchy-witch.com, and press the button that says Twitchyverse Discord and join our community. There are lots of cool people in there, and we do lots of fun stuff, and it's getting bigger and more fun, and we're gonna have more fun stuff coming up in the future. So if you're interested, join us. Top 3 books that you recommend: Huckleberry Finn, To Kill a Mockingbird, and 1984. Those are 3 books I think everybody should read in general. To Kill a Mockingbird, 1984, and Huckleberry Finn. Oh yeah, Animal Farm is pretty good. But Animal Farm too, like, unless you know the politics, like unless you know who represents Stalin and who represents Napoleon and all this stuff that he's trying to do with the Animal Farm, then you don't really know what's happening in the story. Like, you can't really appreciate it. I mean, I read Animal Farm when I was like 14, 15. I didn't know what the hell it was about because I didn't know anything about the history. Oh, thank you, JC. Oh, Of Mice and Men. Of Mice and Men is a spectacular novel that will make you cry. The Little Prince. The Little Prince is another one of those. High Fidelity, if you're looking for like a really good entertainment, like that golden age 90s era humor, casualness towards dating, but also like a little bit of the mystery and coyness that there used to be that's kind of dead now with social media and the fact that we can all WhatsApp each other within moments. Yeah, that's High Fidelity is great for laughs and just a nostalgic feel for the dating world. East of Eden is great. Steinbeck in general, okay? Steinbeck in general is brilliant. Look at this, you know. Oh, the Quartet series by by Karl Knausgaard. Amazing. Or Mein Kampf by Knausgaard. No way, Farcase. Have you read High Fidelity? How good of a book is it? I read that book in a day. I couldn't put it down. The writing was so good. Like, it's just so entertaining. Like, you feel like you're just listening to a friend tell a story, and like your friend is a bit of an asshole, but you love him because he's hilarious. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Read High Fidelity for the kicks, okay? It's so good. The Prophet, by Gibran. It's a small book, but it's spectacular. Let me just reiterate, first and foremost, if you haven't already, go follow your girl on Instagram and Twitter, and YouTube, I guess, even though there isn't really much on YouTube yet. But Twitter and Instagram, please, in case TikTok is banned or is taken down or whatever, you will be still with me on Instagram, and I can continue to share my stuff there. So it's a whole other thing. It's like another personality of mine. So don't be surprised by my tweets. So if you haven't already, join the Discord, the Twitchyverse Discord. Go to my website, twitchy-witch.com. Check out my services, and there's a little button that says Twitchyverse Discord. Just click on it, and you join our little online community. We're going to have movie night soon, so yeah, come drop by. And remember that I have a lot of scammers. So if you get followed by me or you get DM'd by me, know that it is not me, okay? It's not me. I'll never DM you. Not me, okay? It's a scammer. If someone is DMing you about a reading with my name, it's a scam. Please report them, block them, don't answer them, tell them some takeaways from tonight. Most importantly, style and endurance are more important than truth. That's the most important thing. The even more important thing is that a position of neutrality is a voice for the oppressor. Always, always, don't be the person who stands aside, who stands on the sidelines of injustice. Make your voice heard. Say that something is wrong when you know it is. Don't play the political correct game. When you see what you know is wrong, call it what it is. Don't be the neutral guy. Okay, my loves. I am gonna go. Just take care of you. Take care of your individual state, and everything else will take care of itself. But you as an individual, know where you stand. Don't call yourself apolitical, and don't try to profess to be above politics. Everything is political. Even symbolism, even alchemy, even self-exploration and transformation, all of it. Anyways, I love you, and thank you. And if you haven't already, join the Discord. Go to my website, twitchy-witch.com. Press on Twitchyverse Discord. Join the Discord. If you want a one-on-one with your girl, check out my one-on-one services. And follow your girl on Instagram and Twitter in case TikTok shuts down. Okay? It was so much fun. Yeah, thank you for helping me take the edge off of my edgy night. Je t'aime. Je t'adore. I will go. For real. I will see you in the Discord. Bye bye. Au revoir. Ciao.